So let me tell you about how this works and why it's so important. This is a food concentrate. It's not a combination of different ingredients that's put together to make a formula. It's not an herb. It is a purple rice. It's just a single ingredient product, and it's highly concentrated. There's many different strands of purple rice, and there's black rice and blue rice and brown, and different strains of brown rice. This particular strain was actually cross-pollinated to make it a super strain, a highly nutritious purple rice. Purple rice in and of itself is highly nutritious. In fact, it's often referred to as the forbidden rice. It was often in the Orient just reserved for royalty. Well, the owner of the company, Ross Hall, he knew about the legend and all that. Well, he wanted to make a particular version of the rice that was much more nutritious, and then take it through a special milling process, because this is like the third generation of PXP. The first product was just called alfaPXP, and then they called alfaPXP Forte. It was originally a couple different strains of brown rice, and then they added a couple strains of brown rice, added some spirulina to it, that's the version 2, to make a complete protein. And then they came up with this third version, which is just a purple rice with nothing else. And it's a complete protein, and all the amino acids in it. So they hired this a scientist to help cross-pollinate these different types of dark rices to make a super strain. And they used the patent, it's not patented, it's proprietary. They have not patented the process because they want to keep it proprietary. And to explain to you how this works, they take this rice and they concentrate it to 100 to 1. It's 100 to 1 concentration. So 100 pounds of the raw material to make 1 pound that's this bottle. Okay, that's highly concentrated. I don't know of any product in the market that's that concentrated. They essentially take the germ of the rice, and most everything else is discarded.
It's basically the amino acids, right? Every essential amino acid and the
amino acids, the fatty acids, all concentrated. So if they had stopped there, that itself would have been a very powerful product. You know, the source material is very nutritious. It's concentrated 100 times. But then they take it through a couple other processes that is completely natural to nail it down to what's called a nanoparticle, a microparticle. So what that does to the same product, it now makes it much more absorbable. So not only is it concentrated, it is in such a small size that your body can absorb it much more easily without requiring digestion. But then they take even one other step in the milling process, is they take the molecule and it converts to what's referred to as an alpha glucan, which is very, very tiny. Very, very tiny. The chemical bonds become very loose, if you will. So it does not require any digestion whatsoever to be absorbed and broken down. And it essentially turns into like a little singular molecule. They call it a polysaccharide peptide. It's multiple little sugars and amino acids in a little linear format. In this format, when you take this in an empty stomach, preferably 30 minutes away from food, it goes straight into your bloodstream, and then from your bloodstream, it enters your cell very easily, requiring no energy on the part of your cell. It's called passive diffusion. Typically, most things to bring something into the cell requires energy. This does not require any energy. It's pretty powerful. And then what tends to happen is once it enters the cell, your mitochondria loves this molecule, And the mitochondria is the part of the cell that generates energy in your body. It produces something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And when this molecule of alpha-PXP enters the cell and seeks out the mitochondria, it helps the mitochondria produce up to 50% more ATP, increases energy production by 50%. And one of the reasons why that is important is your organ cells, your gland cells, and your nerve cells are the cells in your body that have the highest concentration of mitochondria. And that's because those particular tissues in your body require a lot of energy for optimal function. And what happens with us as we approach 40, a little bit over 40, our body's ability naturally to produce ATP starts to decline significantly. That is often why a lot of professional athletes don't continue their careers once they hit their early 40s, because it's harder to maintain that muscle density, that muscle strength and endurance. Everything it requires much more work because the mitochondria isn't working as it used to. And what this product does, which is just a food concentrate, it's not an herb, it's not a prescription product, it's just a food. And what this food does, it feeds your cells so efficiently. It's 98% absorption at the cellular level, that when your mitochondria are properly nourished, it produces more energy, it stimulates or activates that natural built-in regenerative mechanisms that we have in our body. Because all self-regeneration, self-repair requires a lot of energy. If your body's ability to generate energy is compromised in some way or is suboptimal, your body cannot do all that self-repair. So initially, some people, when they take the product, they feel an increase in energy. Some people don't feel an increase in energy initially. Sometimes weeks or a couple months may go by and they feel sometimes nothing. And they think that nothing is happening. They think that it's not working. So let me explain why that is. And that's because this is a food concentrate, and this will go, the energy will go where it is needed in your body. And a particular concept I want to share with you is one from Oriental medicine. In Oriental medicine, they view the health or the body functions in a couple different layers. It's like the Wei-Qi layer, then there's the Qi, then there's body fluids, blood, and then there's Yin with hormones, and then deepest is genetics. And if a person has an imbalance at the first two layers, Wei-Qi or Qi, which is energy production, energy movement, cellular communication, nerve communication, if that's basically where you have a weakness, that's going to respond much faster. And people are going to feel an energy boost pretty soon, within 7 days, often. Now, if you're having challenges that's deeper, at the blood, body fluids, blood, hormonal level, it may take a little while because all that extra energy is being used in your body to self-repair. So you won't feel the extra sense of general well-being, mental clarity, increased energy that a lot of people who just have the Wei-Qi and Qi imbalances would only experience. So when someone takes this product and says, well, it's been a couple weeks, it's been even 2 months, they don't feel anything, it's also not only is it a form of self-care they can do by taking the product, but it's also almost assessment diagnostic. It kind of gives you feedback as to what's happening with your body. Okay, that's what I noticed with my clients. And it's been pretty consistent with what their quote diagnosis is in terms of how long it takes them to respond, in terms of actually feeling something demonstrably different.